Hotarubi no Mori is the worst, most anticlimactic anime movie I've ever seen. But let me tell you why. Hello and welcome to another review. Today, as promised in the last video, I'm going to be talking about an anime movie that I really didn't like. And that anime movie is Hotarubi no Mori. But before we get into that, I want to say if you do enjoy this video, please leave a like. And if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. We're trying to hit 300 subscribers by the end of this year. And I honestly think that we can do it. But we do need your help. And with that out of the way, let's get into this one. Hotarubi no Mori is a story about a young girl named Hotaru who gets lost in an ancient forest while she's visiting her granddad on summer break. In this forest, she meets Gin, a masked forest spirit. Gin warns her that if he touches any humans, he will disappear forever. He leads her out of the forest and so begins their friendship. Every summer, Hotaru comes back into the forest to visit Gin. And with every visit, their relationship grows and develops. This is a story about forbidden love and the supernatural. That's pretty much what this anime is about. The premise of it is nothing special and the supernatural elements really don't add much to the story, but I'll get into that later. I'm going to be splitting this review into 4 specific segments: music, animation, story, and most importantly, enjoyment. The story segment will have some spoilers, but I will warn you and give timestamps before that happens. So first of all, I want to talk about both music and animation. I've combined the 2 categories because there honestly isn't much to say. Both the music and the animation are alright, but it's not good enough to redeem the mediocre storyline. If you do want to hear the music in this anime, I suggest just listening to the soundtrack on YouTube, and if that inspires you to watch the movie, then let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. The animation is solid, but once again, it's not good enough to be a reason to watch this movie. All in all, I think I'll give the music and the animation a 6 out of 10. The animation is decent and the music is good, but it's not supported by a strong storyline, so it makes it much less impactful. And so we come to the most disappointing part of this anime movie: the story. The story is mediocre at best. It's a romance and fantasy genre, but the fantasy elements really don't add much to the story and it's quite pointless. This movie is only 45 minutes long. It's not enough time for us to really get invested in any of the characters because we lack so much detail. The supernatural spirits in the story just happen to appear and give you small elements of contextual information. The same goes for the 2 main characters. We're given small bits of information here and there and then the story just moves on. It left me wanting more. This is supposed to be a tragic story and many people who've reviewed it have said it's brought them to tears, but honestly, I just didn't have the time to get really into any of the characters.
Their sorrow just didn't mean much to me.
The development of their relationship is one of the only redeeming factors in this story. Their change from an innocent friendship to a cautious romance. But this sort of thing is nothing I haven't seen before. The tropes are often seen in many romance stories. It's nothing new. My main problem with this anime is the ending. This ending is one of the most anticlimactic, disappointing endings I've ever seen in an anime so far. This segment of the video will have major spoilers, so skip to this timestamp if you don't want to hear those. All throughout this movie, we're constantly reminded, if Gin touches a human, he's gonna disappear. Remember, if Gin touches a human, he's gonna disappear. It grew so tiresome in such a short amount of time. This is only a 45-minute long movie. And who would have guessed it? At the end of the movie, he touches a kid, he touches a human, and disappears. And the worst part about it is there's no heart-wrenching reason. A kid trips over him and so he catches his arm, and that's how he dies. It was honestly so frustrating. I've watched this entire movie and I get given that for an ending. There were so many different and better ways this could have ended. Maybe he could have given up on his life to express his love to Hotaru and touch her one time before he disappeared. Or maybe Hotaru could grow up and forget about him, showing the many distractions of the modern world and forsaking one's childhood as one gets older. Or maybe even a big plot twist and Hotaru dies instead of Gin. That would have been surprising. A good example of a movie that does this well is I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. I would take that movie any day of the week over Hotarubi no Mori. There was just so much possibility with this movie, and instead we get given a subpar ending that made me feel frustrated. It made me feel like I just wasted 45 minutes of my life when I could have been doing something more productive. You know there's a problem when you would have preferred to have done homework over watching a movie. Overall, I'll give the story a 4 out of 10. It wasn't exactly horrible, it just wasn't good enough. And so now we come to enjoyment, the most important factor. And initially I was enjoying this anime, I'm not gonna lie to you. But that ending, it was just the final straw. It made me so frustrated and annoyed. I felt like I'd wasted my time, and so that's why I have to give this a 2 out of 10 for enjoyment. The thing that surprised me the most was this movie is rated so highly, an 8.4 on my anime list. The reviews, many of them were just 10 out of 10s. It made me feel like I'd watched a completely different movie. I was sold the dream of this movie being the 37th best anime film ever made, and that made the disappointment that much worse. Overall, I'd rate Hotarubi no Mori a poor 4 out of 10. I wouldn't recommend this anime movie to anyone, it just isn't worth your time. But if you are looking for a good short anime film, I'd suggest The Garden of Words. It's a really good anime film with superb animation, a good soundtrack and a solid storyline. In my personal opinion, it's much better than Hotarubi no Mori, and it's much more worth your time. And with that comes the end of this video. If you liked hearing my hot takes, then leave a like and more will definitely be coming. I also want to assure you that I don't want to stick to just anime reviews. I do want to delve into different kinds of content. So if you do have any specific ideas that you want me to try, then leave it in the comments below. And as always, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!